From the Daily Trust News Center, this is the News Hour.
On News Hour tonight, Kano traders lament inflation as protesters take to the streets in Minna. Soldiers neutralize rogue colleague responsible for shooting and killing a senior officer. 4-year-old girl, grandparents severely injured in cooking gas explosion. And on the foreign scene, Senegal police fired tear gas over protest against election postponement. Hello and welcome to Trust News Hour tonight. I am Eugenia Abu. As inflation continues to take its toll on Nigerians, traders in Kano are decrying the persistent increment in the price of corn flour across markets. Trust TV correspondent Idris Jibrin reports that a bag of 50 kg corn flour is now sold at 45,000 naira as against 8,000 naira a few months ago. Here's his report.
Flour is a byproduct processed from maize for people who cannot afford to buy maize to use in preparing their food. However, its price in the market is now becoming disturbing for most traders in Kano State.
To yanayin al'amarin da gaskiya abin da nake ganin ya sa yayi tsada shine gaskiya masara ta yi karanci. Yawwa ba masara.
Honestly, the reason why this thing is expensive is because the maize is now scarce in the market. You have to travel very far and wide before you get maize, and there is also cost of transportation in addition to that, which is also making it very expensive. So we are hoping that government will ensure that there is a price control so that everybody can get this thing as affordable price. Across many markets in Kano, a measure of corn flour is now sold at between 1,700 to 2,000 naira as against 300 naira some 8 months back. According to traders, the high cost of maize and transportation, as well as scarcity of maize, which is the raw materials for corn flour, are largely responsible for the price increase. You see, the price of this corn flour is now very expensive. We are selling it at between 1,800, 1,700. In some cases, we sell it at 2,000 naira. So it's very expensive and we don't have choice because so many things are involved. Worried over this persistent increase in the price of food items, these people are now out on the streets of Kano metropolis to pressure authorities into taking action that will end situation. They say many Nigerians are beginning to lose their lives in search of daily bread, and that inflation is showing no sign of relief for ordinary people across the country.
We are here to demonstrate and call the attention of our leaders from federal government to state level to local government level and our emirs here in Nigeria to do all what is we want to do here is to open our borders, open our land borders to provide enough food to Nigerian people.
Please stop us from this situation. We are tired. We are tired. We can't continue living in this bad situation. Please open borders for us. Open borders for us. Let us eat food enough. Let us eat food enough so that you can control whatever kind of weapons that they are bringing throughout our food. Government can handle it. We are not the one that's supposed to do it.
These protests, according to these people, is only the beginning, as they will continue to be on the streets henceforth until the price of food items and other essential commodities are reduced. Idris Jibrin, Trust TV News, Kano.
And still staying with the high cost of living, residents of Jigawa State have called for quick intervention from relevant agencies of government following the rise in prices of essential commodities ahead of this year's Ramadan fast. According to them, within a month, the price of sugar has risen to 73,000 naira from the initial price of 46,000 naira per 50 kg it was sold last month. Similarly, the price of rice moved to between 59,000 and 70,000 naira per 50 kg, among other basic necessities. Checks reveal that most civil servants in the state are indebted to shop owners selling food items because their salaries cannot feed their families for a month, while businesses are folding up due to inflation. As the cost of living crisis continues to bite hard across the nation, residents of Makurdi, the Benue state capital, say they are losing hope in government's capacity to mitigate the situation. While the government says it is on top of the situation, residents say the cost of food and other basic commodities are out of the reach of the average Nigerian. Jimmy Azande now reports.
According to them, the government appears to be playing politics with the living condition of Nigerians, as the situation seems to be deteriorating with each passing day.
Difficulty index is at the peak of it, right? Even if you can't do anything, it should make life okay for the common masses. At least they should be able to afford their 3 square meals. This is my submission. You can forget about project or anything, but make sure, no price control. Inflation is on the increase on daily basis. If this is not taken care of, at a point it will generate a full-scale war because the masses are not happy.
The cost of living down is very, very hard. Nothing to do, no work. Because of the fuel. Because of that, people they are no longer working their vehicle. Most people park their car. They manage bike. Some group of people buy bike. Maybe they will use together to manage by 2 liters in a week to the office. So they no longer use their cars. They park their car at home. So now, for us to eat now is very difficult for us.
Although the economic crunch is not restricted to Nigeria, other nations of the world are experiencing same. They, however, believe there is a role the leaders can play to make Nigerians feel better.
The war we have around the world, especially Russia, if that war did not stop, and the sanction against Russia did not stop, we are not going to get it better all over the world. If you can see right now, France, the same thing, they are in problem. When you look at France 24, you will see they came out, their farmers protesting high cost of living. There's some people will be saying that we have a refinery, we have this, we have diesel. They have more than 20 refineries in France, where they are talking of cost of living, food, diesel, petrol.
How long Nigerians will wait for things to change for the better can only be determined by prosperity. Jimmy Azande, Trust TV News, Makurdi.
As inflation hits the various sectors of the Nigerian economy, drug prices has marked a sharp increase, with everyday medication becoming too expensive for Nigerians. The federal government, in reaction, has restated its commitment to address the surge in drug prices across the country by promoting local pharmaceutical manufacturing. Here's that report.
Social Coordinating Minister of Health and Welfare, Professor Ali Pate, emphasized this commitment during a consultation forum with pharmaceutical stakeholders held in Lagos. He acknowledged that the global increase in pharmaceutical costs is a shared concern, but President Bola Tinubu's administration is actively implementing measures to ensure affordable and safe healthcare products for Nigerians.
As part of the President's renewed home agenda, the health and welfare of Nigerians is key. And pharmaceutical manufacturing, local manufacturing is something that we are pursuing aggressively. One that will ensure that the industry thrives, that Nigerians have affordable commodities to improve the health of the population of this country, that are also safe.
While reassuring stakeholders of the government's dedication to the success of the local pharmaceutical sector, Professor Pate disclosed that several foreign pharmaceutical companies have expressed interest in initiating manufacturing operations in Nigeria.
In the pharmaceutical sector, and we have many that are beginning to show interest to come into our economy. In the last 3 months, we've had at least 3 major players exploring the opportunities to come and manufacture in Nigeria. And we do hope that many others will come in, that our local industries will thrive. It's not easy at this point, but we know that this dark clouds will pass.
In response to these developments, Dr. Bukar Abba, the president of the Federation of Nigerian Pharmaceutical Industry Associations, proposed on behalf of stakeholders the establishment of a 600 billion naira pharmaceutical manufacturing development fund at either the Central Bank of Nigeria or Bank of Industry. This fund, at a 5% interest rate over a minimum tenure of 7 to 10 years, aims to support local production of active pharmaceutical ingredients, vaccines, critical supply chain interventions, and research and development.
That tax incentive will make our local industry attractive to global investment and also serve as a boost to those of us who are already in it so that we do not begin to die. If those coming in see us dying, they are not going to come in.
Urging his perspective, Professor Cyril Osifo, president of the Pharmaceutical Society of Nigeria, PSN, advocated for the availability of essential drugs in government hospitals and the recognition of the pharmacy consultancies cadre for their contributions to professional enhancement.
Addressing these concerns will not only improve the working conditions and working environment for pharmacists, but will also have a direct impact on public health services as a whole.
Stakeholders at the forum collectively asserted that through continued consultations and effective implementation of decisions, the federal government will be able to realize its goal of unlocking the healthcare value chain, ultimately benefiting the Nigerian populace.
In another development, gunshots were fired by operatives of the Nigeria Police Force to disperse residents of Minna, the Niger state capital, who were protesting against the escalating cost of living. As early as 7 in the morning Monday, a group of women blocked Minna Bidda Road at the popular Kwakungu roundabout to express their grievances over the rising cost of food items. They were later joined by men, bringing vehicular movement to a halt. Efforts by the police to control the crowd and clear the road nearly turned violent as protesters asked the police to leave, prompting the police to fire several shots in the air to disperse the demonstrators. A spokesperson for the Niger State Police Command, DSP Wasiu Abiodun, could not be reached for comments on the matter. Residents of Taraba State have expressed concern over the rising prices of foodstuff and essential commodities and called on government to implement price control measures. Some of the residents who spoke with Trust TV said many residents of the state, especially low-income earners, can no longer afford 3 square meals a day as a result of rising prices of foodstuff. The residents also accused hoarders of grains and Shylock traders of aiding and abetting price increase and advised government to check activities of hoarders and traders to help alleviate the suffering of Nigerians. They lamented that a measure of locally processed rice is now sold for 1,900, adding that an average family will need 5 measures in a month, as well as beans, maize, and other essential items to survive. They noted that since people are facing difficult times, it was imperative for the government to do something urgent before things get out of hand. And to security matters now, operatives of the FCT Police Command attached to anti-kidnapping unit have arrested 5 suspected kidnappers in the nation's capital, Abuja. Those arrested are Buhari Muhammad, a wanted kidnap kingpin, Mohammed Sabiu, Isa Abdullahi, Hamzat Musa, Fatima Abdullahi, and Zuliat Yusuf. They were all arrested at a hotel in Bassa Village in the FCT. A statement from the FCT Police Public Relations Officer, SP Josephine Ade, says the notorious kidnap syndicate was responsible for the abduction of one Joshua Eze, the husband to Blessing Eze, who suffered a bullet injury in the process of her husband's abduction on the 27th of January and was subsequently rescued and hurt by police operatives of the command the next day. ASP Ade added that one AK-47 rifle, 10 mobile phones, cash sum of 345,000 naira, and some other valuables were recovered from the suspects, who have since confessed to the crime and other kidnapping incidents in the territory. She said while investigation is still ongoing, the FCT Commissioner of Police, Benneth Igwe, assures members of the public of his commitment to rid FCT of criminality in all its manifestations. Troops of the Joint Task Force Northwest, Operation Hadarin Daji in Sokoto, have gunned down their colleague who opened fire and killed a senior officer. The officer killed by Kingsley, a second lieutenant, was identified as O.C. Ukachukwu. A military source who confirmed the tragic incident said it happened on Sunday at about 6:05 in the evening. James was said to have gone berserk at the forward operational base in Magami, Sokoto, and opened fire, killing Ukachukwu before he was killed by other soldiers. Some of his colleagues who were also injured during the incident are currently in stable condition in the hospital. There have been public concerns recently over the state of mental health of Nigerian soldiers, particularly the ones fighting terrorists in the northeast, following the recurring nature of these incidents. Some of the soldiers have in the past complained about poor welfare, overstaying in the region, and abysmal treatment by the military hierarchy. The Independent National Electoral Commission has declared Dachung Pam Nwankong of the African Democratic Party and Daniel Asama of the Labour Party as the winners of the Plateau North Senatorial District and Bassa Jos North Federal Constituency rerun elections conducted on Saturday. INEC conducted court-ordered rerun elections in the Senatorial District and Federal Constituency. The action followed the nullification of the elections of Senator Simon Nwankong and Representative Musa Aga of the PDP by the appeal court. Ado Musa has that report.
Declaring the results, the returning officer for the Plateau North Senatorial District, Professor Nestor Chagok of the University of Jos, said Dachung Pam Nwankong scored 122,442 votes to defeat his closet challenger, Shepiu Yakubu, who scored 53,980 votes.
4-3. That Dachung Pam Nwankong of ADP, having satisfied the requirements of the law, is hereby declared the winner and is returned elected.
Professor James Damen, who served as the returning officer for the Bassa Jos North Federal Constituency, also declared that Daniel Asama of the Labour Party scored 66,422 votes, defeating the second challenger, Mohammed Alkali of the PRP, who scored 61,670 votes.
336 votes. That Daniel Asama Ago of the Labour Party, having satisfied the requirement of the law, is hereby declared winner and is returned elected.
But the candidate of the NNPP has rejected the outcome of the election and called for the cancellation of the exercise.
In Nigeria in general, we shall imbibe on it. We therefore reject in strongest terms the so-called repeat election of 13 polling units in Tudun Kabong and 3 polling units in Naraguta B, believed to have arranged and scheduled in strongest words of other political party other than my party that was massively voted by the people in order to favor a prepared candidate and his party.
The breakdown of the results, as presented by INEC, showed that Shepiu Muhammad Yakubu of the NNPP came second with 53,980 votes, while Muhammad Alkali of the PRP came second in the elections. Some party agents, however, refused to sign the final result of the elections. Ado Musa, Trust TV News, Jos.
This is News Hour on Trust TV. We take a look at the growing call for state police as a panacea to national insecurity. More news when we return. Do stay.
Rest of Africa, stand and make sure that our people understand.
And the story of the OAU can be told and retold. It cannot be denied that it made a contribution to the process of decolonization of the continent in many ways.
Ethiopia is where it is today in no small part because of the tireless efforts of the African Union and the wisdom of its deeply held belief in the principle of African solution to African problems.
The bulk of African countries were under colonial rule in 1945. So they did not take part in the negotiations that established the Bretton Woods institutions.
So Cameroonians are anxious, Cameroonians are impatient, Cameroonians are like, oh, many of the guys are not talking today. You can read it all over the social media.
Egypt has officially declined to accept fleeing Palestinians for fear that the more Palestinians we accept across the border into Egypt, the more trouble there may be for the country in the nearest and farthest future.
This is News Hour on Trust TV. Another look at our top stories. Kano traders lament inflation as protesters take to the street in Minna. And soldiers neutralize rogue colleague responsible for shooting and killing a senior officer. Moving to more news now, a 4-year-old girl and her grandparents are currently in a critical condition at the Lagos State University Teaching Hospital after a cooking gas explosion ravaged a 3-story building along Odubanwo Street in Ojokoro Local Council Development Area of Lagos. Her uncle also suffered a varying degrees of burns in the incident that occurred on Sunday. The grandmother stated that she was frying meat when the oil went up in flames. She explained that efforts to control the fire were unproductive, leading to an explosion. The explosion, which occurred at about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, was later put out and the victim successfully rescued by community members. The territorial coordinator of the National Emergency Management Agency in the Southwest region, Ibrahim Fariloye, confirmed the incident. Fariloye, who said the building with 14 rooms and shops was reduced to rubble due to the intensity of the explosion, added that 11 families were rendered homeless. A truly sad story. In the meantime, the Transmission Company of Nigeria has clarified that the partial grid disturbance experienced on Sunday was a result of gas constraints at its Ibom Power Islanded, feeding Eket, Ekim, Itu, and Uyo transmission substations. In a statement signed by its General Manager Public Affairs, the TCN explained that during the partial disturbance, the total grid generation was 3,901.25 megawatts, just over 3 hours before the time of the partial collapse. While confirming the restoration of the affected part of the grid, the statement acknowledged the persistent low power generation in the country since January 2024, aggravating daily generation due to ongoing gas constraints. The TCN emphasized that gas constraints persist, impacting grid flexibility and stability. Ensuring sufficient gas supply to power generating stations is crucial for grid stability, as ample generation allows for better grid management in the event of sudden generation losses like this. The TCN pledged to investigate the cause of the tripping of Sapele Steam and Egbin Power generating units. Nigeria's national grid again collapsed late Sunday morning, leaving 20 power stations offline and Nigerians without connection to power for several hours. The grid fell significantly from about 3,852 megawatts at 6 in the morning to as low as 59 megawatts at noon on Sunday. Chamun Dabeng, in this report, speaks to an expert who recommends ways the frequent grid collapse could be addressed in the face of a biting economy. Here's her report.
Over the last 13 years, Nigeria has experienced well over 200 partial systems failures, a situation the International Monetary Fund says cost Nigeria an estimated $29 billion, which is 5.8% of its annual gross domestic product. Nigeria's power grid has a generating capacity of 22,000 megawatts. Despite this, the country has only been able to generate an average of about 4,000 to 5,000 megawatts, which serves a population of over 200 million citizens. The blackout, which occurred following the collapse of the national grid, was the first in 2024, and based on the speculations of experts, this is only the first of many to come this year.
A fundamental problem that we have not addressed till date is the liquidity problem. And it's getting complicated more and more as a result of the consistent fall in the value of the naira. That's a fundamental issue. The issue of inflation is creating a lot of imbalance, such that government is even forced to also provide subsidy. And we are asking the question, how can government sustain that decision to provide subsidy when subsidy itself is running into trillions of naira?
The federal government back in 2013 privatized 11 distribution companies and retained control of the transmission company. Despite the move by the federal government, Nigeria's power sector has seen little to no improvement. To address the challenges in the sector, several experts have advocated the reversal of the privatization policy or the decentralization of generation, transmission and distribution of power supply.
Government went into privatization policy with the mindset that the system will improve. But you see, mindset is one thing. The implementation of the mindset is another thing. The query we need to raise is whether the policies have supported the decision to go on privatization, or the implementation supports the policy itself.
The effects of Nigeria's poor power supply and consistent partial systems failure can be seen in the losses faced by Nigerians who find themselves discarding foods that were not properly preserved due to lack of electricity, as well as the struggles several businesses deal with. In the face of high inflation, subsidy removal and forex challenges, the brunt of the cost is usually felt by the final consumer. Chamun Dabeng, Trust TV News, Abuja.
And from energy, we return to insecurity. Residents in the Federal Capital Territory expressed support for the proposed creation of state police as advocated by the PDP Governors Forum, which has described it as a panacea for national security. Newell Sampson gathers reactions from FCT residents in the report amid the escalating insecurity in the country.
The idea of state police has been in the front burner of national discourse as a solution to the unending insecurity facing Nigeria for over a decade. Governor Bala Mohammed, chairman of the PDP Governors Forum, emphasized the importance of state police during a recent visit to Plateau State, highlighting its projected impact in bridging the gaps in the security architecture in Nigeria.
There is no dissent between the governors at the subnational level that we need to get some decentralization of the security apparatus so that we can enhance good governance by having good state police. And again, that will give us the opportunity to engage the structured security agencies to train our youth and also make sure the rules of engagement are not abused.
In 2017, a survey conducted by NOI poll shows that 61% of Nigerians are in support of creating state police to boost the security of lives and property in the country. On the streets of Abuja, there is an apparent consensus on whether state police is the answer to Nigeria's security dilemma.
Mostly with state, when there is state police, it's going to bring a lot of improvement to the states and Nigeria as a whole.
We are moving towards being a failed state like Afghanistan. So the best option now for every reasonable person is to try state policing. The central system has collapsed, and that is it.
The essence of state police, when you look at our country nowadays, there's a lot of shortage of manpowers in police. The police is understaffed, but with state police, we could discover that our security will be improved.
The state of state police, I want it to even materialize now. Because the way the Boko Haram, the S-men, is terrorize everybody. No state is secure. Even though in my state now, in Noyo, see, it's the way they are killing they are killing even little children. If President Tinubu can listen to us very well now, it should listen to the National Assembly, ask the National Assembly to approve the state policy.
As Nigerians continue to grapple with the numerous security challenges across the 36 states of the Federation, it remains to be seen whether the creation of the state police is attainable in the near future. No, Samson, Trust TV News, Abuja.
And staying with security, in the ongoing struggle to shield the people of Imo State, particularly those in Owerri West local government area, from the grip of insecurity, the police in the state are joining forces with the management of the Federal University of Technology Owerri to tackle the prevailing menace. Ajibade Praise has more on that story.
The police leadership arrived the university's Senate building to a warm welcome by the Vice-Chancellor, Professor Nena Oti, and other administrative officials. Detailing the purpose of their visit, CP Aboki recounted the unsettling discovery in thick forest where lifeless bodies of suspected kidnapped victims were found. This forest, part of Futo's untouched lands, had transformed into a heaven for dangerous criminals, a situation Aboki vowed to eradicate through intensive patrols.
We came on challenge facing the university and the environment and the host community. We have discussed with the Vice Chancellor. She promised to assist us with logistics so that we'll be able to patrol the community. That is the host community. But in terms of the university, there is perfect peace. We don't have a problem with the university. Our problem is outside the university. That is the road and the host community.
Professor Oti emphasized the paramount need to ensure the safety and security of the university's host communities, pledging full cooperation with the police and providing the necessary support.
I'm very happy, very, very happy by the visit of the current CP Imo State, CP Danji Abuki, with his team. Is very reassuring that the security challenges or insecurity challenges in this environment is being confronted head on. And working together with their cooperation and with our cooperation going forward, we expect to see significant, drastic reduction in these ugly incidences. Thank you.
With kidnapping cases escalating in Imo State, many residents now live in fear as the perpetrators remain at large. There is hope that the collaborative strategies will yield the desired results, either leading to their arrest or complete expulsion from the state. Ajibade Praise, Trust TV News, Owerri.
And now to infrastructure. The Federal Capital Territory FCT Minister Nyesom Wike has assured Kuje residents of President Tinubu's commitment to infrastructure development in the FCT. Wike stated this while officially flagging off the construction of a 5-kilometer road in Kuje. Habiba Tajai has details.
The flag-off exercise is part of the FCT's ongoing rural road project within Kuje Area Council to bring infrastructural developments to the area. Minister Wike emphasized the importance of collaboration between the public and private sector for comprehensive progress. The chairman of Kuje Area Council thanked the minister for the project and called for swift completion of previously abandoned projects.
Your Excellency, sir, we have no doubt in your capability and capacity, and we are very happy. At the recent town security meeting, you promised us that you are going to visit the file of Arab contractor who are working on airport road to Kuje. Your Excellency, sir, I'm happy to inform you that the contractor has resumed to site. We are here again to flag off the construction of a 5-kilometer dual carriage road from Tipa Garage Junction to LUA's Secretariat in Kuje Area Council. The scope of work includes realization of 5-kilometer finish to asphalt level, construction of reinforced concrete channel to temporary line going on both sides of the road, construction of pipe covers of various sizes where required, construction for access slabs at port entrances, construction of pedestrian walkway on both sides of the road.
Wike in his remarks said the project aimed not only to enhance transportation within the community, but also to stimulate economic activities and elevate the overall quality of life for Kuje residents.
So all this doing well is because we have a minister and we have a president who gives us anything we want. He has given us all support. And so we have no other choice. We have no excuses to give, but to let the people know that Mr. President is behind everything we are doing. If he does not say go and do, what will the minister do? Nothing. I have said, any project that was awarded before now and that was abandoned, we have to go back to those projects because government is a continuum. It is public money. So we cannot allow government money to just be wasted simply because we are not the ones that awarded it. No. We'll continue with those projects since it has a positive impact on the lives of our people. That's what's important to us.
The road projects undertaken were nominated by each area council, with the minister affirming that the initiative is non-partisan and will be delivered within 1 year. Habibat Ajayi, Trust TV News, Abuja. Blacksmiths, traditionally associated with crafting metal objects through forging and shaping in Yobe State, say they are adopting modern techniques in order to stay afloat. This follows the technological advancement in the trade, which has threatened to send them out of business should they stick to the old methods. Hassan Kohli has that report.
In Yobe State, blacksmiths are innovating and adapting to contemporary demand to ensure that their craft remains relevant and does not go into extinction. These include using locally made product in an innovative way that will serve the people's needs. I am crafting a pressing iron that uses charcoal. It is cheaper and easy to work with. This is helping us to save the profession from going into extinctions. As our elders are passing on, we must come up with innovative ways of modernizing the craft and earning a living from it too. 25-year-old Lawan Hamza is indeed taking part in finding a balance between the craft and the demands of the 21st century. I am crafting this to simplify cooking for our local people. People don't need to buy expensive electric cookers now. It has been my ambition for a long time to create this, and I am happy I have. This stuff uses electricity, and it will last for generations, as no one knows when electricity will be replaced by other alternatives. If government provided us with modern technologies, we will become more productive. These blacksmiths believe that by combining tradition with innovation and adapting to evolving market trends, the profession can continue to thrive in the modern era, ensuring the preservation of their craft for future generations. Hassan Kohli, Trust TV News, Yobe.
You're still watching News Hour on Trust TV. We'll return after this short break. Do stay.
Why did you develop this reputation as somebody who is difficult to work with?
I will tell the truth. No matter whose ox is born, I will say exactly how it is.
This is where I actually sympathize with commissioners of nowadays, where a commissioner sometimes is just a picture. You find somebody, even a cleaner and the governor's wife, can interfere with their abilities.
Even the ministers, there are very many who respected me, simply because I never complained about them. I never went to ask for a favor, never.
So none of that has happened?
Nothing.
But if it hasn't happened, do you have hope that now another government coming in?
There's no hope.
So you've given up on
given
politics?
I've given up. It's gone, it's gone.
Retrenchment from work is the most hated thing by unions. It's a loss of job, means that is loss of life, in fact, for civil servants at that time.
Nigeria's economy, Nigeria's security
Nigeria's intelligence. This is what the materials we were handling. And I thought government would be very interested.
The reasons why you adopted federalism is not because of finesse, not because you like it. It's because of its functional utility.
Thank you for rejoining us. Time now to join Yusuf Akogu for the business news.
Welcome to Business News. I am Yusuf Akogu. The Central Bank of Nigeria's Governor, Olayemi Cardoso, said the Apex Bank has reduced the $7 billion FS backlog it inherited to $2.2 billion and vowed it is working to clear the outstanding balance. Cardoso also disclosed that a Deloitte audit of the FS backlog revealed that $2.4 billion of the unmet demand was invalid. According to him, the bank contacted Deloitte Management Consultant to do a forensic audit of all FS obligations to enable the bank knows what was valid and what was not. The governor said that there are several infractions noticed with the pending obligations. The Nigerian Data Protection Annual Report has revealed that the 2023 data protection cumulative revenue rose to 6.2 billion naira as against 5.5 billion naira in 2022. The report stated that the other areas that the rates increase include compliance audit report, which record 3,451 reports from 2022 to 2023 against 1,864 from 2020 to 2021. Established February 2022, the NDPC was mandated to ensure data privacy and protection in the country. Rights of citizens are in line with the global standard. The revenue of GlaxoSmithKline GSK Consumer Nigeria PLC, a pharmaceutical industry, has fallen to the lowest level in 7 years in 2023. 5 months ago, the multinational announced plans to exit the country after operating for 51 years. The company's latest unaudited financial report showed that revenue declined to 16.4 billion naira last year from 25.4 billion in 2022. Profits also dropped to 510.8 million naira from 771.1 million naira. GSK cost of sales declined to 10.3 billion naira from 18.5 billion naira, while operating expenses rose to 6.3 billion naira against 6 billion naira. Now to food commodity markets. Prices of food commodities continue to rise in major markets across the country. This has triggered protests by some Nigerians, as we witnessed earlier today in Niger and Kano State. Let's see how the prices are looking at today. If you go to Lagos State, the price of 50 kg bag of rice at my 12 market is going for 68,000 naira. Of course, go down there. If you look at beans there in Dawanao market in Kano State, it's around 25,000 naira for a 50 kg bag. Gari at Modern Market in Asaba is going for 22,000 naira per bag. Of course, maize at the Adua market in Katsina State is being sold for 40,000 naira. For granite at Ungwarimi market in Kaduna State is going for 10,250 naira. Of course, soya beans is also 50 kg bag. The Akara market in Kano State is going for 9,000 naira. Of course, Dangote salt at my 12 market in Lagos is around 10,300 naira. Moving on now from food commodities now to stock market indices for today. It closed in the negative territory, and of course, as a backdrop of the sustained bullish run in equities market, investors are anxiously waiting for influx of companies' results that have been expected into the market, and of course, many of them are taking position as the case may be. Let's look at the market as it ends today. It closed in the negative territory this Monday, the first trading day of the week. Abe Mortgage Bank there down 9.70%. Giants Bank on the losing side today 7.93%. Guineans also down 6.90% as well, and this has moved the market downward by 0.73%. The oil share index also marginally down by a little over 700 basis points. There, if you look at some of the top trading equities today, we have the likes of FBN, First Bank of Nigeria PLC, doing so great today, since there is a change of more like an ownership there. Also to say the new board chairman Femi Otedola there, since he actually came on board, the bank has been one of the darlings of investors there. Transcorp also doing great there, 403 million shares. Owando also 43.206 million shares as well of its company were actually traded as well. But of course, we have some equities that actually recorded gains today. One of them is Cadbury Nigerian PLC recording 10%. Mayor Baker also 10%. And of course, another Mayor there also 10% as well. These are the highlights of the stock trading as it went down this Monday on the floor of the Nigerian stock market. Let's see the stock market in Africa and indeed the rest of the world. Now to the FX market. Now, Naira depreciates again at the parallel market and, of course, that the official exchange rate window as well. Let's see how. Finally, in business, oil price slipped again on Monday as strong U.S. job reports, which capped sharp falls last week, dampened hopes of swift rate cuts, despite a U.S. pledge to continue airstrike in the Middle East, which have kept geopolitical tension high. At the London market, the Brent crude sold for $77 per barrel. For the OPEC basket, price drops further to $78 per barrel. And that's business. I am Yusuf Akogu.
Thank you, Yusuf, for that update on business. And away from Nigeria, Senegal's National Assembly faced turmoil on Monday as riot police deployed tear gas to disperse protesters angered by the postponement of the February 25th presidential election. The unprecedented move to reschedule the election to August the 25th and extend President Macky Sall's mandate prompted unrest and criticism. The African Union, along with regional bodies and Western governments, called for a swift announcement of a new election date. Riot police outside the parliament used tear gas and made arrests to quell around 100 protesters. A widespread public outcry over the postponement has raised concerns the country will face violent protests like those that have intermittently broken out over concerns Sall will run for a third term and the alleged political sidelining of opposition leader Ousmane Sonko. Meanwhile, Senegalese lawmakers on Monday began debating a proposal to postpone the presidential election, which was previously set for February the 25th. President Macky Sall on Saturday announced a delay to the vote hours before campaigning was set to officially begin, sparking a political crisis. Parliament is examining a text adopted the previous day by a preparatory committee proposing a delay of 6 months or even up to a year until February 2025. According to the text distributed at the meeting, supporters of Karim Wade, whose bid to run in the presidential race was rejected by the Constitutional Council, presented the proposal. King Charles III has been diagnosed with cancer and will be taking a step back from public-facing duties, Buckingham Palace has announced. In a statement, Buckingham Palace said during the King's recent hospital procedure for benign prostate enlargement, a separate issue of concern was noted, adding that subsequent diagnostic tests have identified a form of cancer. The statement noted that the King has commenced a schedule of regular treatments, during which time he has been advised by doctors to postpone public-facing duties. The Palace statement does not identify which form of cancer King Charles has been diagnosed with, apart from prostate cancer that took him to the hospital. It states that King Charles remains wholly positive about his treatment and looks forward to returning to full public duty as soon as possible. And in sports, the Minister for Sports Development, Senator John Eno, has said that the Kano Golf Club is of immense cultural importance to West African history. Speaking at the Kano Golf Club Captain's inaugural tournament, featuring 251 amateur and professional golfers, the minister pledged to collaborate with the appropriate ministry to label the golf course as a national heritage site.
You have a Kano Golf Club that has dated since 1903, and then you listen to the fact that the golf club itself started in 1909, and then you appreciate the fact that this will be the first, not just in Nigeria, but in the sub-region. Immediately I return to Abuja, I'm going to begin work with my colleague who is Minister of Culture and Entertainment to see how we can begin, the beginning work, we can commence it, to having to, label and define the Kano Golf Club as an heritage center.
Nigeria's Minister for Sports Development, Senator John Eno. Time now to join Emmanuel Fashemi for more sports news.
Nigerian sprint queen Tobi Amusan has set a new African women's indoor record in the 60 meters hurdles, running in a time of 7.75 seconds at the New Balance Indoor Grand Prix in Boston, USA. This race in Boston topples the former record of 7.77 seconds set in Kazakhstan at the Astana Indoor Meet in January 2024. However, despite setting the new record, she came second in Boston behind America's Tia Jones, who finished first with a time of 7.72 seconds, and followed by Bahamas' Devin Charlton, third with a time of 7.76 seconds. Remarkably, Amusan had already beaten the African record on January 27 in her first race of the new athletic season, surpassing the record set by compatriot Gloria Aliozie. In January, she has set a new African women's 60-meter hurdles indoor record with a time of 7.77 seconds. The performance came at the Astana Indoor Meet in Kazakhstan. Amusan crossed fellow Nigerian Gloria Aliozie long-standing continental mark of 7.82 seconds set in 1999. The 26-year-old stumped to victory in 60-meter hurdles final ahead of American Nia Ali and Ireland's Sarah Lavin. In 2022, Amusan became the first Nigerian to win a World Athletics Championship gold. She also broke the women's 100-meter hurdles world record en route to that triumph. Nigerian senior men's national football team, the Super Eagles, will touch down in Bouake on Tuesday for their semi-final clash against the Bafana Bafana of South Africa. The Super Eagles, who got to the last four after beating Palancas Negras of Angola 1-0 in the quarterfinal of the competition, will be looking to advance into the finals for a record 8 times. The team will depart Abidjan to arrive Bouake on Tuesday for their official training ahead of the crunch tie against the Southern nation. Super Eagles hold a better head-to-head record in preparation towards the fixture, as the Eagles defeated South Africa in this same stage when Nigeria co-hosted with Ghana in 2000. The encounter is bid for Wednesday, 7th February 2024 at the Stade de Bouake by 6 p.m. Nigerian time. And that is sports. I am Emmanuel Fashemi.
Thank you, Emmanuel, for that sports news. The remains of former governor of Yobe State, Bukar Abba Ibrahim, have been laid to rest on Monday in Saudi Arabia. A statement by the Senior Special Assistant, Communications and Strategy to Governor Mai Malabuni, Yusuf Ali, said the funeral ceremony was held at the Grand Mosque, Masjid Al-Haram, after the dawn prayers. The funeral prayers took place twice after the Fajr prayers. Ibrahim, who governed Yobe State from 1991 to 1992 and 1999 to 2007, before serving 3 terms in the Senate, died on Sunday while receiving medical treatment in Saudi Arabia at the age of 75. Buni expressed deep sorrow over the loss. And with that, we have come to the end of the news hour on Trust TV. Do not forget to follow us across all our media platforms and join our YouTube live stream for more news, programs, and documentary. On behalf of the team back here at Trust TV, I am Eugenia Abu. We thank you for joining us.